Okay, welcome back to the Okay Not Okay podcast, and today, well, unless the sports zoo interrupts me yet again, we will again try to celebrate Jade and Bianca's victory, but we're also going to talk about the general state of affairs for the tag team divisions. So let's start with this lovely quote by the late Charles Dickens. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times, and I don't know the rest of it. It's apparently from A Tale of Two Cities. I don't know, people like to quote him. I think it's not as lyrical as Walking with Elias or The Rock Concert, so we'll just go with that. So let's start with the best of times, and yeah, Jade and Bianca are the best of times. Can you believe these two? What a group they already are. They are 9-0 in traditional tag matches, and their only loss when they lost the titles, well, as you know, it was not a traditional tag, it was a 3-team tag, and they were not even the ones to get pinned in that. In fact, they were the ones that landed the move that caused the finisher. Unfortunately, the unholy union of Fire and Dawn knocked them off and stole those titles from them. Fortunately, that problem has been fixed, and Jade and Bianca defeated them finally to win back the championships. So the women's tag team division is in the right hands, where it should be, and these two women seem to be just on the same page all the time. Best of friends, nothing could ever possibly slow them down. So that is great to see. I can't imagine anyone beating them anytime in the near future. But Jade and Bianca aren't the only good thing about the tag titles. In fact, the women's tag team championships have been defended more often than any other championship in the WWE in 2024. And when you combine that with the men's tag team championships, plural, those championships have been defended a lot more often than the singles championships. So let's run down those from top to bottom. First, as I said, is the women's tag team championships with 14 title matches, followed by the Intercontinental Championship led by Sami Zayn with a total of 11 championship matches, followed by the World Tag Team Championships with 9, then the WWE Tag Team Championships with 8. And those championships are tied with 3 other championships. In fact, the World Heavyweight Championship has been contested 8 times as well, with Damian Priest having the most defenses, as well as the undisputed WWE Championship with, of course, Cody Rhodes really carrying the weight there. And lastly, the Women's World Championship has also had 8 championship matches. But of course, that includes the vacant title that was won by Becky Lynch in a Battle Royal. And the last 2 are the Women's WWE Championship with 7 total title matches, and lastly, the United States Championship with just 4 title matches, almost entirely due to Logan Paul never defending those championships, as LA Knight already has as many title defenses as Logan Paul did in his much longer reign. And if you add all of those up, in fact, 31 of the 77 title matches for the entire year have been tag team championships. And so that is 40.26% of the title matches have been tag team championship matches. That's a really high percentage considering that there are 9 championships in the WWE, and of course, only 3 of them are tag team championships. So of course, that's 1/3 being tag team championships, but over 40% being defended there. Now, of course, we do know that the men's tag team championships were combined up until WrestleMania when they were split apart in the men's 6-pack ladder match. But that doesn't matter, that didn't affect the counting here at all. So we'll talk about that a little bit more later at the end. So just as much as it is the best of times, well, that means it's also equally the worst of times. So since July 18th, 2021, when the Usos won the tag team championships for the Bloodline, well, either the Bloodline or the Judgment Day, or sometimes both, as we have right now, have held the titles for 78.67% of all days. That is 669 out of 1,158 days and counting, since both of them currently have those championships, so that streak's not going to end anytime soon. And in fact, the Bloodline has held the titles for 622 days, and the Judgment Day has held them for 289 days. And both, and counting, since we've been overlapping that since August 2nd when the Bloodline won back the WWE Tag Team Championships. Now, on its own, there's nothing wrong with these long reigns held by these factions, but of course that means they actually have to be paying attention to them and defending them. So as you know right now, just this past Monday on Raw, the Judgment Day defended their Tag Team Championships for the first time since regaining them 84 days ago. Yeah, that is one title defense in 3 months, folks. That is simply not getting the job done. And indeed, the Bloodline did defend their titles once already, so I guess they're on a pretty decent pace. But that doesn't mean they'll be doing that anytime soon, as they now seem to be fully occupied with Roman Reigns coming back, as well as Solo Sikoa still wanting to focus on getting that undisputed WWE Championship. So essentially, therein lies the rub, that these men's tag team championships seem to only be the third most important thing that these factions have going on. Like I said, for the Bloodline, we're worried about Rhodes, we're worried about Reigns, and then I guess we finally can get to the tag team championship. For the Judgment Day, well, first they keep having to deal with Damian Priest in all these matches, and secondly, yeah, I guess Liv does eventually have to defend that title against Rhea again, which she'll be doing at Bad Blood. And then third, finally, I guess if we have some time, we'll throw in a tag team championship match. Why not? So I guess the other problem here is the challengers. What are we talking about here with the challengers? Essentially, it seems like there's barely any of them to go around. Let's think about Raw first. We just had the New Day try to win the championship against the Judgment Day this past week, but they are just 3-1-1 on the year in tag matches, and that's comparatively pretty good to most of the other teams, since the Authors of Pain are next, and they're a little bit better actually at 5-3, but they've not even attempted to have a tag match since August 5th. So, are they really caring about it? That's a month and a half ago. Beyond that, well, it just gets a little bit silly, as the Creed brothers would be next perhaps at 2-2, but they just got their clock cleaned by the Wyatt Six over and over again, so they don't seem like strong contenders. But the Creed brothers look great compared to American Alpha, who is 0-4. But the other top teams, which would be the Awesome Truth, who did a great job defending the titles for a few months, they and the New Catch Republic both have injuries, so there's no chance of them getting back into it anytime soon. On the SmackDown side, well, it doesn't get much better. We know DIY lost the title to the Bloodline, and they're the best we have at 6-5 right now. But they also just lost the #1 contender match to the Street Profits. So can they get back into it? I don't know. But speaking of the Street Profits, well, yeah, they lost to the Bloodline a couple weeks ago, so I guess it's over for them, even though they're now back under 500 at 4-5. Is Los Garza any better for you? They're just 4-3. It seems like they don't care a whole lot about these championships for some reason. Maybe they have a chance there, since nothing else seems to be working other than having a lot of food on these restaurant segments. And the initial winners of the split championships, well, A-Town Down Under, they just keep losing every single week now. Not only did they seem pretty uninterested to defend the title when they had it, but as soon as they lost it, they decided they'd have matches every week, and of course, they pretty much lose them all, as they've lost 6 out of their last 7. And from there, it falls off the cliff, with Pretty Deadly being just 1-5. We have Cruz and Corbin at 0-2. We have the OC, if you even still want to count them, they're 0-1 in traditional tag matches. So yeah, it gets pretty ugly pretty quickly there. So do we have any real contenders on the men's side on either brand? Then, speaking of the women, well, we have a bunch of contenders theoretically on Monday Night Raw. Well, the Pure Fusion Collective of Zoe Stark and Shayna Baszler, they're always seemingly in the mix. They still have a great record at 8-4, but we know they lose every single title opportunity that they get, and they're in a rut right now, losing 3 consecutive tag matches of any sort. Then we have the prior champs of the Unholy Union. Yeah, they just lost their rematch against Jade and Bianca, and they're just 2-5 in traditional tags, so are they really that great of contenders? I don't think so. Then, of course, we get to Damage Control. Well, the only current version available is Io Sky and Kairi Sane, and they're off to an okay start. They are 2-2 in all tag matches, 2-1 in traditional tags, so that's not bad. It sure seems like Damage Control wants to go after that titles, and Io picked up a singles win against Bianca, which is really impressive, but to me, that shouldn't help them. But we know WWE sometimes likes to propel these tag team championship matches off of singles wins, so hey, why not? We need something good, and we know Damage Control as a group is pretty good, and we know Io by herself is awfully good, and Kairi is also a several-time tag team champion, so that looks like a pretty good matchup to me, so I think we might see that before long. And sadly, of course, our beloved Carter and Chance have been injured here recently, so we haven't seen them in quite some time. Hopefully they come back soon. But then on SmackDown, well, it seems like they've just given up. Indy and Candice have fallen to 4-7, and they've been nowhere to be seen since they lost 3 in a row to Jade and Bianca. So I think they don't want any part of this anymore. And even worse, Piper and Chelsea, well, they won their last match, but that was way back on May 31st. So yeah, they just want to gossip about Tiffany cashing in on Nia, I guess. But hey, they can keep losing singles matches if they want, but maybe they should go back to trying to win some tag matches. But admittedly, that's it. That's all we've got. So out of 3 different divisions, do we have 1 real contender in Damage Control? Is that really it? So that's pretty ugly, folks. But after all of that, let's top it off with a quick discussion about PLEs. Well, so far in 2024, we have had 10 premium live events, with the 11th coming up at Bad Blood. Now that counts WrestleMania 2 times, since it was 2 nights. So out of these 10 PLEs, we have had 26 chances for there to be a tag team title match, because the first 4, we had the men's tag championships basically combined with just the Judgment Day holding them both. And out of those 26 opportunities, there has been a tag team championship match a total of 7 times. 7 out of 26. That's just a little bit better out of 1 and 4. So not very good. And to make matters worse, 2 out of those 7 were women's tag team championship matches that were merely on the pre-show. So there have only been 5 championship matches that even made the main card out of our 10 premium live events. And let's look ahead to Bad Blood. Do you see a tag team championship match on the main card, or even on a pre-show? No, I don't see that happening this time, so things are looking pretty bleak. So I don't know what to tell you, but it just seems like there's not a lot of attention being paid to the tag team championships, and certainly they're not getting the spotlight on the premium live events. But hey, it's not all bad, because as we said, we're getting a pretty good amount of tag team championship matches as a whole compared to the other titles. And this is coming from the WWE, where there has been a tag team match that has been the main event of 2 consecutive night 1s of WrestleMania. Of course, the first one when Zayn and Owens defeated the Usos, and then last year when The Rock and Roman Reigns defeated Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins. So that one wasn't a title match, but it was still a tag match. So you would think the WWE would put some more importance on these tag matches being on these premium live events. But I guess that's not the case so far in 2024. Well, there you have it. So some best of time, some worst of times. but you tell me which one it really is, so we can figure it out and hopefully get some more tag team action, especially on the PLEs. I'm Dr. O'Kay, and this has been the OK Not OK podcast.